Hi everyone, week 5. I must confess, I'm a little exhausted right now. Our school board, and I can share this with you guys because even though it's off topic, it's very much on topic. But last week, our school board announced their budget proposal for next year, and it includes cutting all choir, strings, and band up until grade 8 in our district. The cut affects a lot of stuff as a drama and music teacher. It doesn't directly affect me because I teach high school, but it affects my feeder schools. It affects my own children. It's been an emotional week. Teachers, principals, instead of getting creative, are cutting teachers based on a budget that hasn't been proposed yet. So our whole city, which is a large city, has gone into strategic planning to convince our trustees that this is not a wise decision for our kids and for our education system. I'm tired. It's been a lot of meetings this week and a lot of strategic planning. We have 4 weeks to overturn our board. Not overturn, convince them to keep it and find the cut somewhere else. But it's a pandemic. Let's not kick the arts while we're down. And the reason I think it kind of blends in is as I was doing the readings this week and looking at Meisner, his original background is in music, and a lot of these greats, their backgrounds are in music. He went to Juilliard. And in his training at the neighborhood school, he believed in teaching all actors to sing and all actors to dance. And I talked about it in one of my discussion board posts, but how important that is. And so many don't do it. Like, our instruments are our bodies and our voices as actors. And without the proper training, you don't know how to protect it. You don't know how to train it. You don't know how it works. You need to understand your instrument. So it all is connected in my mind right now. But my life aside, one of the things I thought about as I was doing the readings was basically if the Alder technique and the Meisner technique had a baby, it would be probably my perfect technique. I still think I'm more of an Alder actor, or Adler. I'm tired. Sorry, Adler actor. But there's things I love about Meisner, particularly the music and dance. And, his quote, an actor's greatest challenge is to be believable in unbelievable circumstances. And, he worked on that through communication. And I also, in one of my posts, talked about how our hardest thing with young actors and student actors is getting them to listen, because often they just regurgitate their lines or forget to react when they don't have lines on stage. And a lot of his work in repetition really counteracts that, and a lot of his work with improvisation. And improvisation is something that I use in my classroom for warm-ups all the time, because I really do believe it teaches the students to listen and react to each other and work with each other in collaboration, rather than just keeping their single character and their single character and their single character, right? So I use improv a lot, and I've been kind of thinking about how I can use some of his work with repetition. I know that I had to do some of the techniques in school that were discussed, and I, like was mentioned in the YouTube, was one of those students who would just start going and just lose focus and be bored. And so in looking at teaching these to teenagers, like, how do you teach them without your students having the same thing? I mean, this is now 40 years later, and there wasn't cell phones, right? And so these kids are constantly on their cell phones and need constant stimulation. And even though I don't allow cell phones in my class, it's still hard for them to do some of those mundane things that have such a great benefit. So that's part of where I am with all of this. Like, I agree in the improv. I agree that listening's an issue. I agree that we need to work together on stage. But how do you get students to go through those exercises and still find the purpose at such a young age and with such a distractibility now? So that was probably my most mellow post I've ever done, and it's just a reflection of where my head's at this week. cutting the arts when it's been what's got through so many of these kids through this pandemic just isn't right. So we have 4 weeks of hard work ahead of us in our district as performing arts teachers. A lot of us are music and theater, and I know a lot of you in this class are music and theater as well. So thank you for letting me vent, and I hope that none of your districts are attempting this during this pandemic either. All right, bye.